Hello, Kitty, the white cat famous around the world, so much so she even has a whole theme park dedicated to her and her friends. Today, we are crocheting a simple amigurumi of this cat. And why all of a sudden I decided to crochet Hello Kitty? Well, I honestly don't know why either. But for whatever reason that you want to crochet Hello Kitty, I hope you find this video helpful. As for the materials, I am using lightweight white yarn from Milk Cotton, and I believe this is the shade Ivory. You will also need a 3mm hook, along with a tapestry needle and a sewing needle, a pair of scissors, a piece of ribbon, and the ribbon that I am using in this tutorial is a red ribbon with a width of 1/4 of an inch. Of course, feel free to play around with different sizes and colors for your ribbon. You will also need embroidery thread in black and yellow. I don't know the particular DMC codes, but the black one is black and the yellow one is more of a goldenish kind of yellow. You will also need some glue and stuffing. Optionally, you can add a keychain, use a lighter to prevent the end of the ribbons from fraying, and a stitch marker, but since we are crocheting in rounds, I opted not to use one. Starting round 1, we are going to make a magic ring with 6 single crochets. So this is the first single crochet. Now the second one. And the third single crochet, and so forth. After your last single crochet, pull the tail to close the loop. Now before continuing, we are going to have to join the round, and to do so, we are going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the previous round. After your slip stitch, chain 1. For all the rounds following this, we are going to end in a chain 1 and a slip stitch. And to start the next round, we are going to crochet into the same stitch that we slip stitched into. For round 2, we are going to increase into every stitch in the round, and that means that we are just going to put 2 single crochets into one stitch. At the end of the round, you should have a total of 12 stitches. At the end of the round, it will look like you have 2 extra stitches in the round, but that is actually the slip stitch and chain 1 from the previous round. The first stitch of the next round will be what looks like the third stitch, so we are going to make our slip stitch and chain 1 into that third stitch. To start round 3, we are going to single crochet into the first stitch, which is the stitch that we just slip stitched into. In the next stitch, we are going to increase. Repeat the pattern of a single crochet followed by an increase a total of 6 times for a total of 18 stitches at the end of the round. Just a little check-in that you are counting your stitches, at least occasionally, because I too sometimes get lazy and don't bother to count, but then once you realize you skipped around and then have to go back and do it all over again, it's a little too late. Now once you reach the end of round 3, you're going to want to slip stitch and chain 1 to join the round. Starting round 4, single crochet into the first stitch of the round. Follow that with an increase. Then single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Then follow that with an increase. You're going to want to repeat the pattern of 2 single crochets followed by an increase for a total of 5 times. After your final increase, you are going to have 1 stitch left, and in that stitch you are going to single crochet 1. Join the round with a slip stitch and chain 1. Starting round 5, you're going to want to single crochet into the next 3 stitches. Now increase into the next stitch. You're going to want to repeat the pattern of 3 single crochets followed by an increase for a total of 6 times, and at the end of the round you should have a total of 30 stitches. Join the round with a slip stitch and chain 1. Starting round 6, single crochet into the first 2 stitches. Follow that with an increase. Then single crochet into the next 4 stitches. Follow that with an increase and repeat this pattern of 4 single crochets followed by an increase a total of 5 times. After your final increase, single crochet into the last 2 stitches. There should be a total of 36 stitches at the end of this round. Slip stitch and chain 1 to join the round. Now for round 7 through 12, you're just going to single crochet 1 into every stitch in the round for a total of 36 single crochets. Make sure at the end of each round you're joining it with the slip stitch and chain 1. So feel free to pause the video here, maybe grab a snack, drink some water, and we will resume crocheting after round 12. Welcome back, and hopefully you guys had a nice little break. This is what it looks like after round 12, and at this point we are going to start embroidering the face. So I'm going to have a little chart here indicating where each piece of the face goes. Hopefully this is more helpful than me explaining the whole thing. So before I even start embroidering, I am figuring out the placement of the eyes, and I am placing 2 of my tapestry needles where I want the top of my eyes to be. And I am placing the top of the eyes between round 7 and round 8 with 5 stitches between them. I am aiming to place the eyes in the center of the face opposite the side of the seam created by our slip stitches. Now I am starting to embroider, and I am starting with the whiskers. It's probably easier to start with the eyes first, but since I wanted to maximize the amount of yardage I get with this single piece of thread, I am starting on one end of the face and then going all the way around to the other end. For the whiskers, I am only looping around once because I didn't want them to be too thick. As for the eyes, I think I did about 3 times, but of course you can vary it based on your preferences. After you finish embroidering, just knot the ends on both sides. Now we are going to move on to the nose, and it's just one stitch in the center between the eyes. You're just going to want to loop around until you reach the thickness that you like. I ended up looping around 3 times, and once you finish, you just want to tie the ends together. Editing me with the knowledge of the future, if you're using a kind of beaded keychain like I showed in the beginning, put it in now rather than later, because I ended up forgetting and now I just have a Hello Kitty head on my desk. Now with the face all done, we can continue on to round 13. Single crochet into the first 2 stitches. So at this point we're going to start decreasing, and I am doing an invisible decrease, which is just crocheting using the front loops. Now in the next 4 stitches we are going to single crochet. Follow that with a decrease and repeat this pattern of 4 single crochets followed by a decrease a total of 5 times. After the last decrease, we are going to single crochet into the last 2 stitches. Slip stitch and chain 1 to join the round. Starting round 14, single crochet into the first 3 stitches. Next, we are going to do a decrease. Follow this pattern of 3 single crochets followed by a decrease a total of 6 times, and at the end of the round you should have a total of 24 stitches. Slip stitch and chain 1 to join the round. For round 15, start with 1 single crochet. Follow that with a decrease. Single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Follow that with a decrease, and repeat this pattern of 2 single crochets followed by a decrease a total of 5 times. After your final decrease, we are going to single crochet into the last stitch of the round. And once again, join the round with a slip stitch and chain 1. Now before continuing, we are going to add our stuffing. A little squish test to test the fullness, and now we're on to round 16. Start with a single crochet into the first stitch. And then follow that with a decrease. You're going to want to repeat this pattern of 1 single crochet followed by a decrease a total of 6 times, and at the end of the round you should have 12 stitches in total. At the end of the round, slip stitch and chain 1 to join. Now we are in our final round, round 17, and we are just going to decrease 6 times, and at the end of the round you should have 6 stitches in total. So once you finish the round, you're going to want to slip stitch to join the round. It's a bit hard to see which one is your first stitch, so this is probably where a stitch marker would be handy, but you could always count backwards from your current stitch to find the first stitch. Now, unlike all the other rounds, we are not going to chain one. Instead, we're just going to pull the loop out and then cut a medium tail. We're going to use this tail for fastening off, and what you're going to want to do is thread it through your tapestry needle and weave it in and out of only the front loops of the last round. And once you finish that, pull the tail to shut it close. Now we're just going to weave the tail in and out of the head to hide it. And now we are almost done. All there is left to do is to crochet the ears. I am starting with the right ear and I am positioning myself 2 stitches away from the end of the whisker, and I am inserting my hook between round 6 and round 7. Pull your yarn through the stitch and slip stitch to attach it onto the head. Into the same stitch, single crochet 1. Going up the head to the next stitch, half double crochet into that stitch. Follow that with a double crochet into that same stitch. And then half double crochet into that same stitch. Then lastly, the next stitch up the head, we are just going to do 1 single crochet. Cut a medium tail for fastening off. Now onto the left ear, we are going to start between round 4 and round 5. Again, we are going to pull the yarn through and slip stitch to attach it onto the head. Single crochet into that same stitch. Going down the head to the next stitch, half double crochet into that stitch. Next, double crochet into that same stitch. And then follow it off with a half double crochet into the same stitch. Finish the ear off with 1 single crochet into the next stitch. Cut a medium tail for fastening off and then weave in all the loose tails. Now lastly, we are on to making Hello Kitty's iconic little bow. All I did was tie a simple bow with my ribbon, then I adjusted it to the size that I liked, and then I trimmed off the ends to make them even. If you happen to have a lighter on hand, I recommend quickly melting your ribbon ends so they don't fray in the future. Now to attach the ribbon onto the head, all I did was apply a little bit of glue and place it on the right ear. Once you have attached the bow onto the ear, you have to give it a little time to dry, but essentially we are done. We have completed the Hello Kitty head. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. It took me a bit longer than I expected to edit it, probably because I haven't made a video in so long. And on that note, thank you to everyone who have subscribed or stay subscribed. Hopefully I'm able to upload more consistently in the future. So until next time, bye!